I'm trying to photograph the decisive moment. I'm French. I was born in Marseille, in the south of France. And I grew up over there and left there when I was 18 to come to New York.
It's always great to come take pictures on a Monday morning, especially in New York City, because you're in a mindset that's very relaxed. You're coming out of Sunday, it's very mellow, but people are stressed out. And I learned in biology that most heart attacks happen on Monday morning, and it's really interesting to be able to take pictures of
Really? Mondays?
yeah, Monday morning, because of cigarettes and stuff like that.
Henri Cartier-Bresson is my favorite photographer because I'm a scientist doing art, and why I think it's the perfect combination, even though it may seem like it's not the perfect combination at all, but if you know where the science has limits, you know how with art you can make these limits implode. I mean, you know how far you can go, how far is too far, and Henri Cartier-Bresson had this saying that he's looking for geometric lines and geometric shapes, and it's a way of seeing the world. I mean, my father as a painter sees the world in different pockets of colors, and I see it in certain shapes. If I see a door, I see two vertical lines parallel to each other, and if you start having lines crossing each other, then you get a very interesting situation, and I'm always looking for that. I'm always looking for that because then if you can bring the human element in these geometric shapes, then you have the perfect combination of science maybe and art.
The idea of the geometry, you have three ducks and you have so many lines coming in, parallels, perpendiculars, and it's really interesting.
My inspiration for photography comes maybe from music and the poetry within the music. I mean, today's music, it's a lot of rhythm and a beat and certain things. I'm really fond about different type of music where you have a melody but you also have lyrics. And there's some things you can put into words, and putting it into a picture, it gets challenging. I'm looking for contrast all the time, whether it's difference in colors or difference it's a difference in a very funny situation, a certain person in a certain environment. That's the things I'm looking for. I'm a big fan of Henri Cartier-Bresson, and he had this very catchy phrase saying, "I'm trying to photograph the decisive moment," and it's almost like I see it as hunting. I'm sitting in a place and I'm waiting for something to catch my eye, and once it happens, you have to be there on the shutter to catch that moment. And so it's not really about anything. It has no purpose. It's about small moments in life, and I think that I'm seeing photography as the privilege of stopping time. I'm stopping time at this current moment, and there is no future from that point on. We keep that emotion, and that's there forever. And I think it's even more philosophical than what it seems. It's scared of things to come and nostalgic about what has just been, and I think that's everything that you can see in my pictures from the day I started. I've tried to meet with a lot of people in the photography industry. So in New York, it's a very weird mentality, because it seems like you need to be a professional photographer with years of experience before you can show anything in New York. It seems it's not really maybe a place to start, New York. I know Sinatra said that if you make it in New York, you'll make it anywhere, but I've seen that you need to come with a certain background, with a certain luggage, as we say in French. You need to come with loads and loads of experience before you can show in something in New York. It's good on one level, but the downside is that if you're living in New York, you have to move to start. And I think it's even more difficult when you're 23. And especially in the type of pictures I'm taking, they don't think maybe I'm ready to take these pictures, and I get dismissed a lot. I'm not looking for money, so it doesn't bother me. I can still keep on taking pictures, and that's the beauty of it. In France, on the other side, it's a much more different mentality. They're much more opened up to the new talents. They want to get that new artist and see what he has to show. So I got much better response in France from my pictures rather than in New York. Perseverance. I think today it's a concept that is being dismissed too easily. We don't value the older times when people had to fight and they would wait, and once they would get a chance, and once they had to take that chance when it showed up. And I think perseverance is something that will be, I think, the idea of the next couple of years, because we're so used to reality TV and becoming an instant superstar, but it's too fake, and you need some density to your character. You need some density to your art. In Judaism, it's a very interesting thing. We understand that God plays a role in our everyday life, but there's also an idea that you have to be partners with God. Meaning, if you have an exam and you don't study and you say God will give me the answers, you're foolish. You're stupid. You have to do something. You have to do the first step, and then maybe God will push the next step for you. So that's what I keep in mind. My parents and my grandparents were born in North Africa, in Algeria, Morocco, but originally my whole family, whether it's from my mother or my father, are coming from Spain. My father, who's a physician and also a painter, growing up, living with him was a big learning experience. I mean, I've seen an artist at work since I was a young child, and I think it kind of grew on me, and seeing him stimulated me to start doing it myself, and then when I found my way in photography, I understood exactly what his passion was, and it was really educational to be with such a person. I think people perceive me as somebody who has who enjoys very little things. Interestingly enough, I'm happy with very small things. I believe in God, and I think that when you look at the world around you, there's certain questions you don't have answer for. Why do birds sing? Why are flowers colorful? And there are certain things like this where it's really puzzling. I mean, it could have been gray, black, and we would have been very fine with it. I think that there's certain idea that God is maybe extravagant somehow and wants music around. He wants us to sing, and he wants colors, and I think that I want to capture that. I want to capture that there's some extravagance in the world that is purely useless. I mean, there is no point in that, but it's there. That's, I think, art. I think God's art is around